Black Nun. This story is from 1989. 3 girls in England, Cheryl, Agnes, and Diana, used to live together on a PG basis. All 3 used to work in different places, and slowly the friendship of the 3 became very deep.
Agnes, what kind of boy do you want to marry? I'll marry a rich boy so that I can be in comfort my whole life. Oh my! And Cheryl, you? I'm very happy with my bank's work. Money is not everything. He should be a good life partner. I think both partners should have jobs and run the home together. That's my wish. You and your bank job. I just want such a husband who's a slave to his wife.
A few days later, it is Cheryl's birthday. Agnes and Diana made a plan to throw a surprise birthday party together. They had decorated the room before Cheryl had arrived that evening.
But Agnes has her birthday at midnight. She will come before from the office, and our surprise will be spoiled. Oh yes, I hadn't thought of that. You do one thing. I will decorate the room, and you take her out of the office to roam somewhere and bring her back till midnight. Wow, that idea sounds fine. I will take her with me to watch a movie.
And Diana arrives at Cheryl's bank before her work is over for the day.
Hey Diana, what are you doing here? I thought I would take you to see a movie after this boring work. Want to come? Oh, well, that invite sure is a surprise. And where's Agnes? I don't know where she's at today, but both of us can go and watch a movie.
And thus, Diana makes an excuse to her friend's boss, and she takes her friend Cheryl to the movie. All the while, Agnes is preparing a surprise birthday party for her. Both are returning home after watching a movie late that evening.
The movie was very good, Diana. Thank you. No problem, my friend. You do all that boring work at the bank. You deserve some entertainment.
While walking home from the movie and chatting along the way, suddenly a woman appeared in front of them. She was very ugly, and she wore the clothes of a nun. She walked as if floating on air. Cheryl and Agnes were shocked at this mysterious woman that suddenly appeared in front of them.
Who are you?
Diana stands behind Cheryl. She doesn't want to approach further due to the fear.
Have you seen my brother Peter?
Peter? Who's he? I don't know any Peter.
You work at Bank of England, don't you?
Yes.
And yet you don't know Peter? He's my brother. Where is he?
Come on, Cheryl. Let's go. Don't answer her. I think she's crazy. Let's leave.
You know my brother Peter. He used to work in the Bank of England, too.
I don't know. I have no idea who he is.
You don't know then?
And the nun starts walking forward, screaming, and clutches Cheryl's neck. Suddenly her eyes turn deep red, and instead of tears, blood streams from her eyes. Suddenly her nails grow longer and sharper, holding Cheryl by the neck as she begins to fly up in the air, and she starts laughing loudly. Diana turns away after watching this nightmare unfold before her.
Leave, my friend. Leave.
The woman takes Cheryl to a very high place and drops her from that immense height. Cheryl's head collides with the ground and immediately cracks open upon impact, and she begins bleeding out. And that mysterious woman disappears in the wind. Diana runs towards her dear friend, trying to help, but by then she has lost too much blood. Through tears, Diana pleads to her deceased friend.
Cheryl, come on. Wake up. Today's your birthday. See? Agnes made a surprise plan for you. Get up now.
In a while, a crowd gathers. The police car and the ambulance also come there. They pick up Cheryl's body. Diana is crying and giving a statement at the police station. Then Agnes arrives there.
Agnes, our Cheryl is gone. She left us on her birthday. That woman killed Cheryl.
Which woman? Who was she? Please tell us in detail and help us to sketch her. Diana dictates all the reports while weeping continuously. When the sketch arrives, everyone sees that the woman looks like a black nun. Look, ma'am. Don't cry. We are very sorry for your friend's death. Her case is not normal. We will do a full inquiry on her behalf, but I feel this is the case of the black nun. We can catch a living person, but what about the dead?
Black nun? Dead person? What are you saying? I don't understand.
Oh, Dr. Robert will be able to explain it all to you better than I could. Please go to him. Here is his address.
Who is he?
He is a paranormal activity expert and is currently researching the Black Nun.
What are paranormal activists?
These are the experts who research demonic forces and things that normal people cannot control. Both Diana and Agnes come to meet Dr. Robert the next day by making an appointment in advance. They see that his room is very bright, and strange machinery was set up. There is also a pentagram in the corner, and the doctor was sitting beside it. Welcome, Diana and Agnes. How are you?
Do you know us?
Yes, the inspector told me all about you. I will also research Cheryl's case. Have you brought the photo?
Yes.
Robert puts her photo in the middle of the pentagram, and he keeps watching it carefully. Robert starts mumbling quiet to himself. My suspicion was right. This is the work of the Black Nun, and I'm so very sorry your friend fell prey to her. Now, nothing can be done.
But why? Who? Or what?
Punishment can be given to those who are normal human beings, but the Black Nun is a spirit. Many years ago, in a village, two siblings, Sarah Whitefield and Peter, used to live happily. Peter found a good job in the city of the Bank of England. Sarah, I got a new job, and now I have to go to the city. But don't worry about me. I will keep sending you money, and I will also keep coming to visit you. Peter comes to town and starts his new job at the bank. Initially, he works honestly, but slowly, he gets addicted to earning quick money and starts betting the bank's money. I will become a very rich man one day. But the matter of Peter's fraud reaches the top of the management team, and he is handed over to the police. The case goes on for many days, and British law sentences him to death. And Peter is killed. All the while, Sarah Whitefield was unaware of Peter's whereabouts for months. She finally takes a trip to the city and goes to the bank to find her brother.
Where is my brother, Peter?
We don't know. The bank staff hides the truth from Sarah for many days, but she is very persistent and shows up there every day to look for her brother.
Where is my brother?
We do not know. He has not come in for a long time. Sarah senses something is suspicious, and she comes to the bank every day to inquire about Peter. One day, the bankers get tired of her and tell her the truth. Hearing that, Sarah's heart breaks completely. Seeing the horrible emotional state that Sarah was in, the bank people announced to give her a pension on the condition that she would not come to the bank again. After some days, Sarah dies, and she's buried in the backyard of the bank. But suddenly, after some days, people in the bank saw Sarah. And again, she starts asking of her brother's whereabouts.
Have you seen my brother, Peter?
No. And Sarah converts into a black nun. Whoever answers her questions, she kills them in anger by smashing their head on the ground. The same thing happened to your friend, Cheryl. She has been a victim of the anger of the Black Nun.
But our friend was killed unnecessarily. How was it her fault?
I can understand your grief. God bless her soul. And a few days later, on the same path, the Black Nun again kills another person, and she continues to be the cause of fear in the city, even today. The end.
Sabrina. This story is from 1935. In a small town in Indonesia, Johnny and Maria used to live with a little girl by the name of Kits. Kits was Johnny's niece. Both of them adopted her after the death of her parents.
Dear, why aren't you happy?
Where is my mother and father, Uncle?
Now we are your mother and father.
2 years had passed, but Kits still always remained depressed. Johnny owned a famous toy shop. His dolls were famous throughout all of Indonesia. Johnny created a very famous brand of dolls, and he named them Sabrina. And one day, Johnny brings home a Sabrina doll for Kits.
Maria, this is a gift for Kits. You give it to her.
What's this, Dad?
This is Sabrina doll, dear, which your father has specially made for you. It is also bigger than the rest of the dolls.
Thank you, Aunt.
No, honey. Say thanks to your father. Kits always pretended to be happy, but in her heart, she missed her parents a lot. In a few days, she joins the 8th class, and Johnny and Maria put her in a school outside the city. She also made some good friends at school.
What's your name?
My name is Kits.
My name is Bush, and I'm your class monitor. This is my group, Bishop, Martin, and Lyra.
And soon, Kits starts to focus in school, and now she is a little happier than before. But even today, she misses her mother and father very much. One day at school, Bush is playing a game with all the other children, by which dead souls can be called, and then they can talk to them. They can come from another world to our world.
What are you doing, Bush?
Sit quietly near me, Kits. I'm calling my granny here. I loved her very much, and it has been many days past since I saw her.
So, does this game bring dead people?
Yes, they will come, only if you call them properly, but you have to make sure that you send them back very carefully. If not sent back properly, they can create a lot of destruction in our world.
Bush starts playing the game. Someone turns off the lights in the room, and after a while, a spirit appears. Pictures in the entire room start shaking. Suddenly, Bush's granny appeared there. Bush starts talking to her, and Kits carefully kept a watch on all this. Everybody chants and talks to the evil spirits after Bush's granny leaves, so that she could return to her entity and would not remain on Earth.
Go back, Granny. It was good to meet you today. Now you can return to where you came from.
In this way, I can also meet my mother. Now I know where she went suddenly. Bush, will you please teach me this game? I also want to meet my mother.
Okay, Kits. I will teach you, but promise me that you will do it by yourself. And also, whatever soul you choose to call, you will be sure to say that incantations to send that soul back to their world.
Okay, Bush, I'll take care of that.
And Bush explains to Kits all the rules of the game, and also gives her the pentagram from which the entity would be called. At midnight of the dark moon, Kits closes the door of her room and hangs the pentagram in the room and starts the dark ritual by placing a candle in the middle of the pentagram and started invoking her mother and father.
Please come back, please come back. I call upon evil to call you back.
Then there is a loud knock on the door. Kits opens the door swiftly, keeping everything hidden. Her Aunt Maria brings Sabrina doll to the room, and she gives it to Kits. You had left it outside, hun, so I came to give it to you. Good night.
Whew, I almost got caught. I would have been in so much trouble. Now I'll have to wait till the next dark moon to call my mother.
What are you thinking, Ann?
Nothing, Aunt. I'm just feeling drowsy. Thank you for the doll.
Kits falls asleep with the doll. As soon as she falls asleep, Sabrina doll's eyes opened and she flies in the air, then sits on a nearby chair. This means that Kit's devil worship of Kit was not in vain, and the demon was attempting to enter the doll after coming from another world. Now Sabrina kept changing her place from one world to the other.
Tomorrow night, I'll hang up the pentagram again, and I'll summon my mom. Nothing can stop me from meeting her now.
Kits hangs the pentagram again the next night, and then unexpectedly, the movement begins in Sabrina doll. She slowly starts transforming into a demon, and all of a sudden, her nails begin to grow into claws, and her hair turns a vicious red. Her feet turn backwards, and she's dangling with her feet from above the ground. And then, she suddenly attacks Maria.
I will kill you. I will kill you.
Who are you? How did you come to my home? Go away from here! And then, furiously, the demon attacks Maria and her husband, both of them bleeding badly. The demon doll tries to enter Maria's body, but somehow, both of them escape from the house. What is happening? Who was that? And how did it come to our house?
I don't know, Maria. We'll have to find out. I have a friend named Darla. She is a paranormal expert. We should meet her as soon as possible.
Run before it does more damage! Both Maria and Johnny approach Darla and tell her everything that happened.
She's an old woman who's come to resolve some unfinished business.
What should we do?
We have to go back to your home to find it.
Armed with this new knowledge, all of them return to the house and summon the demon with the help of the Charlie game and pentagram. But the demon was very powerful, and she set the game aflame and turned it to ashes. It suddenly became dark throughout the whole house. All photos crashed, thumped, and trembled against the walls. Then Kits approached them, and she was flying in the air. Hey, what happened to Kits?
Stay away from her. She's possessed. The demon is inside her. Get away.
No! How can I leave my child alone? Then Kits lunges violently forward and attacks them. Sometimes she hangs upside down on the wall, and sometimes starts flying. Her strength was so great that all three grown adults were unable to restrain her. It looked as if blood was dripping from her eyes. And then suddenly, she seized Maria's throat.
I will not let you go.
Then, Darla starts chanting loudly, and she catches Kits from the back. After removing the demon from her, they all exited the house and quickly closed the door.
We closed the door. Now she won't be able to get us.
But who was she, Darla? And why did she start following us?
She was Baiga Demon, daughter of Satan, the strongest evil power. Someone apparently summoned her into the house, and that's how Baiga Demon got in. But who would do such a thing? Who would be so stupid?
On hearing this, Kits starts crying out loud.
I did it, Auntie. I wanted to meet my mother, so I tried to contact her. Oh, what have you done? Your mother also called this same demon, and in the process of trying to send her back, that's how your mother died.
What? Well, what should we do now?
Johnny and Maria, there is only one way to kill her. There's a dagger in the cave of Black Mountain. We got to get it. Only with that knife can we send Baiga back to her world. Otherwise, she'll come back to life.
So, let's not delay. Hurry up before she takes on human form.
Maria and Johnny bring a dagger from the hill mentioned by Darla, and they think that everything will be all right now. But they are gravely mistaken. While coming out of the house, Kits brings Sabrina doll with her. For a while, Doll stays calm. But after some time, the Bahiga demon enters inside her, and the doll's eyes begin to open. Who are you? What else do you want from us?
I will kill you too and will take you to my world with me.
And while speaking, she suddenly possesses Maria. Maria's form changes completely. She starts flying in the wind. Johnny, Darla, and Kits get nervous seeing this. Darla starts chanting fast.
In the name of Jesus, demon, go away! In the name of Jesus, demon, go away!
And Darla starts chanting loudly, spraying holy water on the possessed Maria. Bahiga is unable to tolerate this, and she immediately attacks Darla. She tries her best to take the diary from Darla's hand, and she sinks her teeth in her neck and starts tearing at her flesh.
Leave her alone! Leave, Darla! What has she ever done to you?
Don't talk, bring a dagger!
But what if something happens to Maria?
Nothing will happen, I'm reciting the chant. You throw a dagger at her.
There is a lot of fight take place. Then Darla starts reciting the chant loudly, and Johnny comes from behind and attacks Maria with a dagger. The Bahiga demon escapes from inside Maria and falls away wailing in pain. Darla starts spraying holy water on her. Slowly, the Bahiga gets vanished with sheer smoke, and Darla immediately sets Sabrina doll on fire, and it burns to ashes.
What are you doing?
We have to burn it so that Bahiga can never come back again.
Slowly but steadily, everything returns to normal, and Kits also starts accepting Johnny and Maria as her parents. But one day, Johnny brings again a new doll for Kits, and we can see that her eyes suddenly get opened at night.
The Scarecrow. This is a story from the year 1920. Helen lived with her entire family in a small village. Her son, Sam, was 15 years old, and her husband, Tom, was a farmer. They were spending their life happily. One day, Sam was playing with his friends.
Let's play at the farm near the church.
Yeah! Let's go!
Yes, it'll be fun.
I'm not going there. If both of you want to go, then go. But our parents told us to never go there. I'm going to obey them.
Sam, Jerry, and Ricky go to play on the farm near the church, not listening to Henna, as evening quickly approached.
It's evening now. We should go home. Wait, what's the hurry? No, Sam, we should go now. Mommy and Daddy instructed us to never come here anyway. Yes, but why was it forbidden? I don't know exactly, but they say that a ghost comes in the scarecrow of this farm.
Sam laughs out loud.
What a useless story. A ghost and a scarecrow.
Then the strong winds start moving, and the lightning starts to whip. Jerry and Ricky now feel fear creep under their skin.
Come on, Sam. Let's leave this place. I am scared. No, I have to go find that scarecrow and see if that silly story is really true.
Jerry and Ricky then run further into the deepening darkness.
How scared are all the folks in this small town? They've made all the children cowards with their dumb stories of...
Sam takes a walk in the cornfield. When he walks a little further, he feels that someone is following him. He stops and looks behind him, but doesn't see anybody. Then he continues walking. Then Sam looks to where the scarecrow is normally posted in the field, only to find that there is no scarecrow. Sam is surprised upon this odd discovery. He looks around, but there is no scarecrow anywhere. He begins to feel a little scared.
Where did that scarecrow go? I think I'm gonna head home now.
As Sam turns back to head home, Scarecrow is instantly standing in front of him. Half of his face is burnt. His eyes are red. His face is terrible. Sam is horrified to see him and runs away.
but his escape is in vain. Because wherever he ran, Scarecrow would appear in front of him. Sam falls to the ground, and Scarecrow leerily approaches him.
Where do you think you're going, child? Get away from me! Let me go! No, I don't let go of anyone. No one escapes. Stay away from my farms.
Sam tries to run away, but the Scarecrow grabs his leg and throws him into the air. Sam falls to the ground and is bruised on his head by a stone. He is bleeding. Suddenly, in the same field, it becomes a marsh, and Sam sinks into it, where many more skeletons are around him. Sam's mother and father come to Jerry, Ricky, and Henna, and they look very upset.
What's the matter, Auntie? Our son Sam has not come home yet. Do you know where he is?
Jerry and Ricky look at each other fearfully. He's on the farm near the church, where you told us to never go. Hearing this, Sam's mother begins crying.
I'm sure that Scarecrow took my child too.
There's no use in crying. We have to go and look for him.
Wait, we should take the help of Father Peter. He will help us.
Everyone goes to visit Father Peter to seek help. My father has given his life to liberate that Scarecrow's soul to help this village. I will not let his sacrifices go in vain. Perhaps this is the right time to destroy that Scarecrow.
But who is this Scarecrow? And why is everyone so afraid of him?
50 years ago, a farmer lived near the farm beside the church named Max. He used to grow the best grains in his field, and he was progressing day by day, seeing his other farmers in the village start to get jealous. Everyone slowly avoided Max. Max felt very alone, for he was unmarried and both of his parents had also died, but his profits would be many times more than all the other farmers. All the farmers were upset about this. They jointly made a plan. One night, while Max was sleeping at his house, farmers went into his field and set it ablaze, and all his wheat was burnt. Max ran into his fields and saw that the fields were burning, and he realized that it was the work of the jealous farmers. He took a hammer and hit it on the head of one farmer, and all the other farmers brought him near his burning fields and tied him to the Scarecrow. Along with the farm, he died too. But his soul is imprisoned in that Scarecrow, and then that Scarecrow killed all the peasants, and whoever goes around the farm since then, well, he kills them too.
We'll have to find Sam soon, Uncle Peter.
Peter, Helen, and Tom come to the farm and start calling Sam. As Helen's torch falls to the ground, she sees that Sam's clothes are lying there. As she leans down to pick them up, she sees two very frightening feet. She slowly raises the torch, trembling in fear, and sees Scarecrow looming menacingly in front of her.
Stay away from my fields.
Scarecrow pushes Helen, and Tom points the torch towards Scarecrow, but he does not fear anything.
Where is my son Sam? What did you do to him?
I buried him in this land, and now I will do the same with you three.
Scarecrow attacks Tom and he faints. He again turns the fields to swamps all around, and Sam's corpse begins to appear as well. Helen and Tom start to sink inside the swamp.
My son Sam? Tom? Save us, Peter.
Peter, who stands away from the farm, takes a little bottle of holy water and pours it over the Scarecrow. Scarecrow starts screaming with pain. Peter slowly pours the entire bottle over him. The The scarecrow is shattered and slowly merges into the soil. Helen and Tom start crying when they find their son's corpse. Sorry, Helen, I could not save your son, but your son's sacrifice saved the villagers from that monster today. The end. Bigfoot. A team of 5 mountain climbers is sitting in a tent beside 2 trees, which is on a high, snow-capped hill. Icy winds were blowing outside. A bonfire is lit on one side. Wild animals are making sounds from the surrounding dense forest. They are all talking to each other. It's been a full 15 days since we arrived here. So far, we haven't even seen the actual Yeti or even a footprint. Yeah, we're all very desperate to see him. Who knows when we'll see him? At least we'll have Lily with us as bait. If Yeti sees her, then surely he'll abduct her. She's gone with John. You're worried for nothing. No need to worry. They'll be back in a bit.
I will be back in a bit. Then we can proceed with our mission.
Okay, Joe, whatever you say. The time passed, and now it was too late, but Joe did not return. Terrible sounds of the wild animals were coming all around them. All of Joe's colleagues were worried about him. Where did he go? He should have been returned by now. Has he gone too far? Is there danger everywhere? I should check. As James slipped out the tent, someone screamed in the distance. He listened attentively. It was certainly Joe's voice.
Help! John Gomez! Please come fast!
James was looking in the direction of the voice. He saw some bushes moving, and some heavy noises of chimpanzees could be heard loudly. Slowly, Joe's voice stopped yelling. James ran towards the woods looking for him. He couldn't see anyone. But he found a path leading to the mountain. Wild wolves were wandering around. He saw some big footprints. He started watching closely. They were footprints of someone's very, very big feet. Suddenly, James shouted out loudly, Joe! Joe, where are you? Gomez! John! Come fast! After a while, Gomez, as well as John and Lily, came running. What's the matter, James? Why did you scream? Where is Joe? There's no trace of Joe. He came this way, and now I didn't know where he went. I heard his scream. Some bushes were also shaking here, and after that, I came here and nobody was here. Look at this, someone's long, large footprints. These are very big footprints. It might be the footprints of a Yeti. How could Joe have gotten himself into trouble?
Yeah, that was my job. But he's funny. Do Yetis like funny guys?
This is no time for jokes. We need to track him down. Let's go. Identify the footprints. They all stepped forward, looking at the footprints. It was snowing heavily. They came to the mountain. A lot of snow had accumulated. They were all calling out Joe's name. Their voices bounced off the mountain and echoed back. In the distance, they saw a long shadow near a pond. Some terrible, terrible sounds were coming from there. Joe, where are you? Joe.
Joe, where are you?
Look, there's Joe's pistol on the ground. Yes, that's Joe's pistol. That can't be good.
No, this can't be happening.
Did you see any Yeti or any wild animal? No, I just saw bushes moving. Then Joe's scream. It was definitely Joe. One thing for sure, Joe's in deep trouble. Seeing the big footprints, one thing is understood. Joe has been carried off by a Yeti or some big creature. We have never seen any Yeti, but we've heard that they're very terrible. They have long legs and big paws. The claw marks we just saw were also quite large. It seems to me that Yeti's a very dangerous creature. He's taken one of our dear companions, and now that it's night, we should get back to our campfire, or we might be next. We can go look for Joe in the morning, once we can see better. God, watch out for Joe. This dark is terrifying. Let's turn back. Strong, icy winds started moving. John, James, Gomez, and Lily started their way back. Darkness was growing. Lily looked back towards the lake and saw once again the long, black, and hazy figure at some distance.
Poor Joe. Don't know in what condition he is. God, please protect him. We have to start searching for him tomorrow at first light, no matter what.
They all returned to their tents. Apart from the light of their tent, the whole darkness had spread around their sight. The sounds of some wild dogs were coming from far away. They were all missing their friend Joe, and sleep would not come. They were just too scared. John got up from the bed to pee and started going outside his tent. Careful, John, don't go too far. Wait, I have to go. I will also come with you. Thanks, my friend. I'm just gonna stay close to this tent. I won't be long. The Freddy Yeti won't get me. Don't even speak that name that I just said. He's made one of our dear companions disappear. A short while later, John's voice yelled out, "Oh no, this is terrible!" John, what happened? Don't worry, I'm fine, but that poor lamb is very unfortunate. What happened to the lamb? That huge python swallowed it. Such a terrible python he is. First Yetis, now pythons? There's danger all around here. They both hurried inside, and then the two started talking. John pulled out the brochure for his mountain hike. Look there in the fine, small print. It says there are pythons, yetis, wild dogs, and poisonous hummingbirds. What? This is like a death trap. Every animal is just trying to catch us and kill us. Come on, Lily, join us. Sounds like you're not asleep either.
Sleep is hard to find on a night like this. Look at James, tossing and turning in his sleep.
I'm not asleep, just waiting for dawn. We won't get good sleep until we find Joe. The four friends quietly talked as they waited for light outside. Not far away, a fierce chirping sound of a chimpanzee was heard near the bushes. There was also the sound of wild dogs. Bushes were shaking. Okay, be alert. No one goes out alone. Looks like Yeti is back again. That shadow behind the bushes. It would mean certain death to anyone who goes out there. Suddenly, a wild pig roared in pain and squealed abruptly to silence. Then, dozens of dogs howled in the distance, and the chimpanzee's terrible chatter reemerged. Is that the voice of the Yeti? It has the same sound as a chimpanzee, but in a very high pitch. We have heard his voice, but it is not right to take a risk seeing him.
You're right. Going near him will be like to stare directly into the eyes of death.
After some time, there was utter silence everywhere. Early sun rays were touching the ground. These four friends came out. They reached the same bush and saw the same big footprints again. They continued their search for their partner Joe. They searched for him all around, but failed to find anything. They saw a native, elderly mountain man. John called him. "Hello, old man. Please come here. Do you live nearby?"
Yes, I have lived in this area for the last 65 years.
Have you ever seen any Yeti here?
To be honest, I've never seen him, but I've seen a lot of footprints. I heard about them in my grandmother's stories. I have heard that they are very horrible and mighty hungry. Perhaps that's why the one who has seen them does not live to tell the tale.
I've heard a lot about them too. I guess we should go. If you haven't seen him in 65 years, then there's no help for our friend, Joe. They searched for him all around. After some time, there was utter silence everywhere. Early sun rays were touching the ground. They searched for him all around, but failed to find anything. They continued their search for their partner Joe. They searched for him all around, but failed to find anything. Many people tell about the Yeti, but there's still no concrete evidence that has ever been found for him. Yeti is still a conundrum for humans. The end.
Kuchisaki. Jack and Danielle were happily living with their 2 children, Nick and Eric, in Hiroshima City, Japan.
Mommy, I have to go to the garden.
No, son, it's too late. Don't go out now. We'll go to the garden tomorrow.
Let us go, Mommy. Both of us will go. We'll play cricket for a while and come back.
Okay, go. But promise me you'll take care of your younger brother, Eric.
Promise, Mommy.
And both brothers come to the garden for a while and are jumping and playing around a lot. They didn't realize that a beautiful masked woman was watching them both play. When she saw Eric, her eyes began to glow. The boys began to play cricket.
Yay, I hit a 6er.
Eric, don't hit the ball too hard. I don't want to have to run really far to go get it.
Nick feels that someone is standing behind him, but when he turns around, no one is there. While the boys play cricket, the woman with the mask slowly moves towards Eric. She is constantly staring at Eric. When she moves, it is as though she floats through the air. Suddenly, Eric hits the ball hard, far outside of the garden.
What did you do, Eric? You hit the ball so far. I told you I wouldn't go get it.
The wind is blowing the masked woman's hair, but her gaze is fixed on the boy Eric. She glides towards him. But as soon as Nick looks in her direction, she disappears.
Sorry, brother.
It's okay, I'll go get the ball. You stay right here, don't go anywhere.
Nick goes to look for the ball outside of the garden, while Eric stands there silently and alone. Suddenly, the woman comes and stands behind Eric.
Who are you?
Why do you want to know who I am? Just tell me. Am I beautiful?
Eric is confused and just stares at the masked woman. Suddenly, she flies up in the air a little and starts laughing aloud. Her eyes start shining.
Am I beautiful?
Yes.
As soon as he answers this, the woman wearing the mask started laughing aloud and slowly removed her mask from her face. Her whole face. Eric is shocked to see her. Her face is impaired, and her face is cut off in the middle. Her facial wounds seem very fresh, and it seems like blood will start bleeding at any moment. Her hair suddenly starts flying in the air, and her eyes turn red all over. She floats in the air. Slowly, her feet turn around backwards.
Am I still beautiful?
Eric is afraid and begins to sweat.
Tell me, am I still beautiful?
If I say no, she'll probably kill me. I had better say yes again. Yes!
The masked woman takes out a large pair of scissors and strikes Eric with them so that his face is cut from the middle of his lips, just like the woman. Blood starts coming out of Eric's mouth, and he starts to suffer. He falls down to the ground in pain. The masked woman disappears, but her laughter can be heard echoing in the distance. Then Nick returns with the ball.
Eric! Eric, why have you fallen?
Nick screams when he sees Eric's face, and he's horrified. He runs straight towards his house. His family comes hurriedly to the garden.
Eric, my child! What happened to you?
Don't panic, Danielle. We'll take him to the hospital. Some people in the crowd are looking at the boy with panic. Then an old lady comes ahead and speaks.
Looks like this is Anna's work. She has returned. She has come back.
Anna?
Kuchisaki Anna. Nothing can be done now. Your son has died. Take him home and grieve. And always remember the evil masked woman. And the creepy old lady, that would be me.
No, this can't be happening. Who is this masked woman? We don't even know her.
Then the police arrived. After a thorough examination, they give the body back to Jack and Danielle. Take your son's body. We have investigated. Both Jack and Danielle bury their son and arrive at the police station again. Yes?
Sir, our son was killed by a woman. Why don't you catch her?
Look, Danielle, we can catch a person who's alive, but this is not the first case. This is the 125th case. The police investigation is going on, and Kuchisaki again captures a child in the Nagasaki city.
Am I beautiful?
And Kuchisaki kills him as well. Your son has been killed by a ghost. We can't imprison a ghost, and she's probably already in another place, taking another life by now. But why? Kuchisaki Anna. You don't know about her? Let me tell you the legend. A long time ago, there used to be a woman named Kuchisaki in Japan. She was very beautiful, and she boasted about it more and more every day. She was married to a samurai. Kuchisaki, you are so beautiful, and I so lucky to have you.
I am the prettiest woman in the whole world. You should be proud of me and my beauty.
A few years later, the samurai had to go fight a war. Kuchi, now I have to go to battle. You take care of yourself, and yes, keep writing me letters. I love you.
I love you too.
The samurai was at war for a long time. Initially, Kuchisaki used to send letters to him. But slowly those letters stopped coming.
On the other hand, Kuchisaki, too, had broken all boundaries of misconduct.
Kuchi, you're very beautiful. You should become mine.
I'll be yours. But only for one night. I do not want to share too much of my beauty with anyone.
Meanwhile, at war, the samurai received a letter from his good friend, who wrote to tell him everything about Kuchisaki.
No, you can't do this to me.
You are only mine. Only. A few days later, he returns home and sees a man with his wife in his house.
Who is this? And why has he come to my house? I trusted you with my heart. My friend told me everything about you.
He kills the man in the room and slowly moves towards Kuchisaki.
No, what are you doing? Don't come any closer.
The angry samurai walked towards her and took out his katana.
You are very proud of your beauty, right? You consider yourself most beautiful woman in the world. So take this!
In a fit of rage, the samurai moves forward, strikes Kuchisaki's face, and cuts her face from the middle of her lips. The face starts bleeding rapidly. Kuchisaki is suffering.
Why did you hit me?
Go. Now show your face to everyone. Don't you seduce everyone with that face?
No one will think you are beautiful now. Kuchisaki looks at herself in the mirror. Her face has become completely disfigured.
No. I'm beautiful. I'm very beautiful.
Speaking of this, Kuchisaki ran away from there to save her life. But she died.
I'm beautiful.
This is the same Kuchisaki. She has come back after so many years, and she is avenging her death now. That's really strange. Why target children? We don't know. She just asks, am I beautiful? If you say no, then she kills you. And if you say yes, then she cuts your face and kills you. And if you're not sure, she'll follow you home and kill you there. So it doesn't really matter. Whatever you say, she'll end up killing you.
So what do we do now?
You? Nothing. Even the greatest paranormal experts have not been able to trace her. You're not going to do anything? Just let her go? I will only say that you should go get a ghost expert and pray that everyone should be free from the terror of Kuchisaki.
It is said that Kuchisaki continued to terrorize Japan and kill children for many years.
Am I beautiful?
No. Until one day, she finally disappeared. Even today, people are surprised, wondering why did she come, and if she had come, and why did she leave, and if she left. The end.
The Licked Hand. This is a story from 1956. Hannah lived with her entire family in a small town in Chicago. She was 12 years old and had a pet dog named Tom. She is very fond of him. Hannah takes Tom everywhere and spends all her time with him. On this day, Hannah's parents were preparing to go on a trip.
Hannah, you really should come with us. We can't just leave you here alone.
Oh, Mom, I'm not a child. I can take care of myself and this house. You go without me, and don't worry. Plus, Tom is also with me. We'll be fine.
It's all right, Rosie. Hannah, you can stay. We'll be back by tomorrow morning. It's only a matter of one night. Let's go. Hannah, you have to lock all the windows and doors, okay?
Okay, Daddy.
Hannah's mom and dad walk away. Hannah comfortably sits on the couch and turns on the radio.
Keep listening to Horror Stories with Peter.
Oh, wow. This is my favorite program, but Mom and Dad never let me listen. But today, I can do anything I want. So, I will listen to horror stories today.
Hannah turns up the sound of the radio, and the program begins.
Today's story is a bit interesting because it is said that it is based on a true incident. This is the story of Halsett Street in our city of Chicago.
Wow! That's my street. Halsett Street means I will hear the story of our place today. I am very much excited.
This incident is from 20 years ago. A common man named Walter lived on Halsett Street. He had no family, so he adopted a lot of dogs. Many of his distant relatives had their eye on Walter's property. Some would even go to his house and try to kill him so they could inherit his house. But Walter had a pure heart. His loyal dogs would always save him. One day, a distant cousin named Mark came to his house. Mark wished to gain Walter's property, and one night Mark went to Walter's room and added poison to his water. Walter drank the water and died in his sleep. Mark took over all the property, but Walter's loyal dogs did not leave. They surrounded the new homeowner and ate him. For years, the vicious beasts kept everyone away from that house. Until, one by one, the dogs each starved, laid down by their master's dead body, and died with him. Hannah is scared to hear the story.
Wow, that's a scary story. I'd better go close all the windows and doors like Dad said. Mom and Dad will be home in the morning anyway.
Hannah closes all the windows and lays down on the bed to sleep. But she is afraid. She wraps herself in her blanket and covers her head. Then the flower pot falls from the table on her side table. Hannah screams.
Tom!
Tom arrives and sits on the side of the bed.
Please don't go anywhere leaving me here, Tom. I am very scared.
Hannah hangs her hand from the bed and Tom licks her hand, and Hannah falls asleep. At midnight, Hannah's eyes open completely, and it looks like something has bitten her hand.
Tom, what have you done? Why have you bitten me?
Hannah looks into the room, but Tom is not there, and there is a sound of crying. Hannah arrives in the hall, looking for him.
Where are you, Tom? Come out! What happened, my boy?
Hannah hears the crying coming from inside an empty room. Hannah opens the door and sees Tom hanging upside down in the air, and his eyes are bloody red. And on the wall is written, "We can lick too." Hannah gets scared and starts running away. Suddenly, Tom becomes a terrible monster. His sharp teeth, red eyes, and blood dripping down from his mouth was scary. It was the ghostly souls that came inside. Hannah is running away, and Tom came running from behind, taking her leg in his mouth, and pulls her backwards.
Leave me! Let me go!
This animal is loyal to you right now. This is himself.
Tom bites Hannah's leg fiercely, and her leg bleeds. She limps away. Tom destroys the entire house.
Leave me, Tom! Please let me go! You are my faithful Tom! Recognize me!
Tom starts staring at her. Hannah calms herself, puts her trembling hand on his head and pets him. Tom slowly starts remembering Hannah. But then the ghosts take over Tom again. Tom's face turns red with anger. His pointed teeth become large. He is enraged to kill Hannah. He attacks Hannah and injures her badly. Hannah faints. The next morning, Hannah's mom and dad are knocking on the door of the house for quite a while, but only the sound of barking comes from inside. Hannah, open the door, sweetie. Hannah!
What happened, honey? It's so late. Why isn't Hannah opening the door? And this Tom is also barking. I'm very nervous.
Wait, I will break down the door. They enter, and both scream. Hannah's corpse is lying on the floor, and Tom is circling her and barking continuously.
My baby girl. What happened to my baby girl? Who killed her?
Both start crying, and they're not able to handle the shock that Hannah is no longer alive. Rosie and Hannah are crying near Hannah's body. Then Tom comes to their back and starts snarling at Rosie, and the father turn and look back in horror and are surprised to see Tom. Then Tom starts to slowly move towards them.
What has happened to Tom? Why is he watching us like this?
They both look at Tom. Tom, sit down. Tom, what has happened to you? I said sit down. Didn't you hear me, Tom? Tom leaps at them. And they both start screaming, and all the birds fly away, and all the dogs in the city can be heard howling. Hannah's parents also leave the world like Hannah.
Ouija game. This is a story from the 1960s. A boy named Harry lived in Poland with his parents. He had 3 friends, Emma, George, and Luna. One day, Harry's parents went to their relative's house. Harry called his friends at home.
After how many days someone's house has been found empty, else the parents had stopped going anywhere?
Everyone laughs and sits on the couch.
Now tell me, what should we do? We all have all night ahead of us.
Let's play Truth or Dare.
What kind of game do you want to play? I have lots of games.
Which one?
Ouija game. I just got it. It looks like fun.
George removes Ouija game from his backpack. It is a dark board, cracked and creepy looking.
Where did you get this board, George? It belonged to my brother. I found it in his basement.
Yes, let's start playing. I don't know. Looks creepy.
Scaredy cat. It'll be fun.
The 4 friends each placed their left hands on the board and look at each other. Candles are burning all around. George begins reading by looking at the paper provided with the board.
If there is a soul around us, reveal yourself to us.
All their friends look at each other and are also nervous. George repeats the same statement.
If there is a soul around us, reveal yourself to us.
That's when they hear the sound of glass breaking. When they look at the front of the house, they see there is a broken window. Luna sounds very scared.
Looks like someone has heard our voice.
Soul, if you can hear us, answer our call.
Everyone looks towards the board game, and letters appear in the center of the board. Y-E-S. The children look at one another in terror.
I'm so scared, guys. We should stop this game.
No, the real game has just started. George, you should ask that soul something else.
George thinks for a moment, then asks.
What's your name?
They all look towards the board, but there is no answer.
I'm asking again. What is your name?
The previous letters disappear, and new letters reveal themselves. E-V-I-L.
Evil! Its name is Evil. This must be a demon. George, stop this game right now.
Suddenly, the candles all go out, and smoke fills the room. The 4 children start coughing.
George, what is happening? I'm very scared. We should stop this game right now.
Everyone removes their hands from the board and closes the box. The smoke slowly disappears.
Thank God everything is under control now. George, we survived narrowly today. Yeah, man, you're right.
A shadowy figure stands up behind George. The 3 are horrified to see him.
Look behind you, George.
George looks back and screams. His arms and legs are very thin. His eyes are red and bloody. There are bruises on his head. The 4 tremble at seeing that shadow.
What happened? You children got scared of me. You guys have called me only. Do you know I was alive like you all? I used to breathe. And you know what I used to do? I used to burn down the small children to their death. Do you know why? Because I was insane. People knew me by the name of Evil Killer. One day, I died in a car accident. And since then, I am wandering in this world to hunt. Today, you have made my work easier by calling me back to this world.
George runs towards the board and starts reading the instructions.
We want to send you back. Go from here. Go!
Evil approaches him and breaks the board and takes the paper in his hand, and it crumbles into ash. George is horrified to see this.
I haven't come here just to be sent back into my prison. Understand?
Evil grabs George's neck and his body begins to soak. Evil screams out loud. Emma, Harry, and Luna try to escape, but the fire flames engulf them from all sides.
Please, please leave us alone.
George suffocates and his body starts to burn. George falls and is burnt and is nothing more than a skeleton. Harry pours water on the door to extinguish the fire. But the flames do not go out. Instead, the flames become more hot. Evil creeps up to Harry and clings to his body.
That's enough, kid. Now you will not be able to escape from my flames.
Harry screams with pain. Evil made a mark on Harry's body. With his powers started laughing. Then Luna and Emma come, and Emma takes the cross locket from her neck and puts it on Evil's forehead. Evil begins to suffer badly. He burns Harry badly in the fire, and Harry's body also becomes scorched in the fire.
Luna, run from here. I will stop him with this cross. But you, don't worry about me. You run from here.
Luna starts running away, and the evil attacks Luna instead of Emma. He pushes her from behind, and she falls into the fire at the door. And she started suffering from the flames. Emma has a cross in her hand, so as soon as evil starts to hurt her, he is in pain. He cannot do any harm to Emma.
I'll be back again.
Emma starts crying badly. The fire goes out. She is trembling badly. She opens the door and runs away from the house. The end. Dracula. This story is in the year 1930. Jack, along with his two brothers, Harry and Kevin, comes to Salem, which the small town that their grandmother lives in, for Christmas. One afternoon, the three were sitting in Grandma's house when Harry spoke up.
Come on, guys, let's go somewhere. Do something. This afternoon is so boring.
Yeah, man. Great idea. Let's go.
No, dude. I don't want to go. You both go. Jack, bro, Julie is coming to meet us. I talked with her this morning, but no problem if you don't want to come.
Julie's coming? Then I'm game.
Harry and Kevin look at each other and laugh. Then they all go to meet Julie. Julie is his childhood friend, and Jack and Julie like each other very much.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
I'm good. How about you? They are talking and wandering around the whole town. There's a cemetery a little closer to the forest, near where Jack spies a dilapidated, abandoned home.
Julie, tomorrow come meet me here in the evening. Seems like no one comes here, which would be great, because then we could hang out.
Julie smiles and says yes to Jack's invitation. The next evening, Jack and Julie return to the decrepit house to spend time together.
No one will disturb us here. This place is a wreck, and we can talk for hours and not disturb anybody.
Have you heard what folks say about this house? I heard that it's Dracula's home. 100 years ago, the terror of bats in this town had increased. Everywhere, the bats kept flying and scratching and hurting people every day. One day, a man named Victor was returning to his home when he sees a black cat with blood-red eyes. Upon beholding this sight, he was struck with fear.
What an evil-looking creature. Looks nothing short of a pure, vile, evil, sinister monster.
Then suddenly, the cat comes near him and scratches his leg with its sharp claws as a bat simultaneously bites him, leaving a scar on his neck. Victor suddenly begins to feel very badly. Suddenly, his teeth start becoming pointed, and his finger and toenails begin growing.
What's happening to me? Maybe I should go home early today.
As Victor rushes to his house, his entire appearance has changed, and he discovers that he has transformed into a hideous, terrible Dracula. Suddenly, he feels an insatiable thirst for blood. He cannot control himself, and he drinks his wife's blood. But his thirst is still unquenched, so he also drinks the blood of his 3 innocent children. Dracula's terror in the town increases so much that people stop leaving their homes. Then, one night, Victor the Dracula writes on a hill with his own blood.
I will come again after 100 years.
After writing this message, he disappears into the dark and gloomy confines of his house.
Wow, what a dumb story.
Yes, it is! Now, it's not known whether it's real or not, but word around town is that now 100 years have passed and Dracula could wake up anytime.
Come on, Julie. Enough of these scary stories. It's too late to talk of such things. I'll see you again tomorrow, at the same time.
On the same night, the terror of bats again takes place in the small town. Angry squeaking from the bats, and in the midst of all this pain and chaos, Dracula's eyes open. The next evening, when Jack was leaving his house to meet Julie, Harry stops him.
Bro, you hardly spend any time with us because you're always with Julie. Today, why don't you just stay home and play with us here?
I want to spend time with Julie. You guys do your own thing and leave me alone, understand?
Okay, fine. So, why don't you just go live in that creepy shack of a house with Julie?
Jack is waiting for Julie at the same house as before.
It's taking way too long, and there's still no trace of Julie yet. I wonder what the holdup is.
Then he noticed a door that had some blood on it. Jack finds that strange. All of a sudden, pitch-black bats start flying over the house.
Whoa, this door leads to the Dracula's dungeon. But whose blood could this possibly be?
Jack slowly and cautiously made his way down the staircase and entered the dungeon. He peered warily around and saw 2 glittering eyes. These eyes approached him, and he soon realizes it's nothing but a cat. As Jack turned, he saw Julie's body hanging, with her blood dripping rhythmically to the dungeon's cold, hard floor.
Julie, what happened to you?
Jack is shocked at Julie's death. Then he suddenly hears the sound of footsteps behind him. When he looks back fearfully, a terrible Dracula stands behind him. As Jack tries frantically to escape, Dracula flies to him and sinks his razor-sharp fangs into Jack's neck, drinking his blood in the process. It's not long before Jack has also died a horrible death. Jack's mother, Jenny, is waiting for him, and she is very worried. Harry? Kevin? Where's your brother? Do you know what time it is?
Mom, Jack spends pretty much all day, every day, with Julie. I bet right this minute now that he's probably still with her.
But this is the day when storms break loose from the foreboding skies and the whole town is engulfed with a plague of bats. Jack's grandmother is greatly frightened.
Looks like Dracula is back. He said that he would return, and that when he did, he'd be sure to drain each and every person of their life source.
What? What are you talking about, Mother? It hasn't been 100 years yet. Suddenly, Jack's mother falls silent as her gaze wanders slowly over to the calendar. It has been 100 years since Victor's incident. Where is Jack? Why hasn't he come home yet?
I told him not to come home. I was awful to him. The 2 used to meet daily in the old house near the forest, and I gave them a hard time about it. I was being so stupid.
What? That house belonged to Victor.
Everyone is running around in fear of their lives as Dracula's terror reigns over the poor town. Harry, realizing that his brother Jack didn't come home because of him, goes to the old house to find his brother Jack.
Jack, dude, listen. I'm sorry for whatever I said earlier. Can you please come home? Where are you, brother? Can you forgive me?
Then a beam of light comes from a bat's eyes as it senses Harry's presence. Dracula sees Harry. Dracula looks at Harry with a gleam of hunger and instantly starts trying to figure out a way to add Harry's blood to his menu for the night. He subdues the bats, and they fly outside and follow Harry. Harry runs to attempt to avoid them and ends up entering that same dreaded house, leading straight to the dungeon. He sees blood all around him. His heartbeat quickens, and he can't seem to catch his breath, for it is in this very moment he stumbles upon Julie and Jack's corpses.
Brother.
Dracula appears in front of him and he screams loudly. Dracula is approaching him. Then, at the same time, Jenny shows up unexpectedly. She's looking for Jack and Harry as well. She puts her cross, which is in her locket, on Dracula's forehead, and Dracula shudders with pain. But before he gasps his last, he sinks his teeth into Harry's neck before he dies. Jenny frees Harry from the Dracula's grip, and then Dracula transforms and flies away as a flock of sinister bats. Harry, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine, Mom. But Jack and Julie...
Jenny and Harry start crying from the loss of Jack and Julie. The next day, Harry is resting on the bed when he suddenly starts feeling strange. He opens his eyes and studies his reflection in a mirror. Harry's teeth start to turn fang-like. And at that moment, his younger brother Kevin enters. Harry started leering at him greedily. Just one look at his brother caused him to desire to consume his blood. Harry then swoops on him and begins drinking Kevin's blood. Once full, Harry jumped out of the bedroom window and returned to the same old and decrepit house. And once again, a new Dracula resides there to terrorize the village of Solemn. The end.
The Black-Eyed Demon. This story is from the 1980s. Kevin lived in Texas with his wife Rachel, his son James, and daughter Emma. It was winter, and the whole family returns home late at night.
Are we home yet, Daddy? I am very sleepy.
Don't bother Daddy, sweetie. He's driving.
Dearie, you can count until 10 and we'll probably be at home.
Emma starts to count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Kevin stopped the car as soon as she said 6.
Daddy, I haven't finished my counting yet.
There, standing in front of the car, is a shivering child, standing in the road.
You guys sit inside. I'll go find out what's going on.
Be careful, Kevin.
I will. You stay with the children.
Kevin goes to the child, who stands with his face lowered.
What happened, son? What is your name? And where are your mom and dad?
My name is John. My mom and dad told me to wait for them here. We are very poor. I have been standing since morning, and they did not come.
The child looks at Kevin. Kevin feels pity for him.
Let's go. You can come to our house today.
Kevin makes John sit in the car and tells Rachel everything.
But Kevin, how can we take someone else's child to our house? What if his parents come looking for him?
I don't know that, Rachel, but we can't just leave him here in the cold.
Kevin drives the car and everyone comes home. James and Emma are staring at John. John silently comes inside the house. As soon as he comes inside the house, he looks up at the chandelier. A devilish grin crosses his face. Kevin was standing directly below it.
James and Emma, this is John. And today you guys will share your room with him, okay?
Okay, Daddy.
James whispers to Emma.
He's really strange. Why is he just staring at the house?
I don't know, brother. Maybe he's never seen such a big house. Come on, John. Let's show you our room.
John, first come and eat something.
No, I'm not hungry.
John, Emma, and James go into the room.
Strange. He was alone on the road since morning and now saying he's not hungry. That doesn't seem right.
You too, Rachel? Come on, I'm very sleepy.
As Kevin and Rachel begin to leave, the hanging chandelier falls from the roof. They both get scared.
See? I said something is wrong.
Nothing's wrong. I'm fine. The screw must have just loosened in the chandelier. Thank God the children weren't around. Now, let's clean it up before the kids get into this mess.
Just then, John is looking at them both with his black, scary eyes, and goes away smiling. Emma cannot sleep. She is too excited.
Go to sleep, Emma. Why are you jumping?
Brother, tell me a story, will you? I'll sleep then.
Then John comes, looking normal.
Should I tell the story?
Emma and James look at John as he starts telling the story.
11 years ago, a woman named Helen came to this city. She was very poor and looking for work. One day, Helen meets a man named Peter. Peter was born with black eyes, and his family called him Satan. But Helen did not mind at all, and they fell in love. And after some time, they got married. They had a son a year later. Do you think he would be evil? Strange, bad events would happen whenever their family would visit somewhere. They were kicked out of towns and cities. Helen died of this shock. Even Peter could not bear the shock. He gave his son all his black powers to take revenge from the city. And then Peter also gave his life. Now, whenever that kid visits someone's home, chaos starts there. And now he is taking his family revenge from the entire city and will continue to do so.
Emma and James are listening to the story carefully, and they are scared.
Who was that child, John?
John looks at her and says nothing.
Now go to sleep, Emma. It's midnight.
Everyone falls asleep, and John's eyes open up. He has black eyes and a devilish smile on his face.
Now it's time for you guys to sleep forever.
Rachel wakes up, and then wakes up Kevin.
Wake up, Kevin. I can't sleep. An unknown child is in my children's bedroom.
Okay, let's see if everyone is asleep or not.
John pushes Emma and James off the bed.
What are you doing, John? Is this a time for a joke?
Emma starts crying. Kevin and Rachel rush to hear Emma's crying voice. As soon as they open the door, they are left speechless. James and Emma are crying badly.
Mommy, John has beaten us.
When Kevin and Rachel look at John, John's eyes turn black and he laughs out loud.
Calling me to your home, guys. You have called your doom. Now everything will be ruined in this house.
Kevin angrily runs towards John, but is suddenly overtaken by John's evil eyes. Kevin's eyes also turn black, and he picks up a knife.
Don't think, Kevin. Just obey.
Kevin angrily runs towards Rachel and attacks her. Rachel runs away with both children, but John comes in front of her.
Leave us alone. We helped you. Let us go.
Then Kevin stabs her in the back with the knife. He is still under the control of John. Kevin also kills James. Then John looks towards Kevin. John waves his hand and Kevin jumps off the roof of his house, and he too dies. John sneaks out of the house and makes Emma just like him. The next night, a man named Max was coming home from the office. Then he saw a child who is shivering.
What happened, dearie?
The child lifts her head and looks at him. She is Emma. After some time, Max starts walking to his house with Emma, and his eyes have also turned black. The end.
The Closet Horror. This story is from 1980. Alex moved to Boston with his brother David and his father, Thomas, just days earlier. Their house was very beautiful. Both brothers were watching the house, and they were very content.
Bro, our room is cool, isn't it? Yep. I'll put the bed near this closet. By the way, the closet isn't ours. It used to belong to the old landlord. Yeah, looks pretty beat up. I think I'll take my stuff somewhere else.
As soon as Alex touches the closet, he feels a sudden rushing wind, and he falls to the floor.
Man, are you alright? That was totally weird. I felt like someone pushed me.
Within a few days' time, the whole family had moved in and gotten settled into their new house. One night, Alex and David were sleeping when they heard the sound of someone inside the closet knocking from inside. Alex is jolted from his slumber as the sound of the frantically crying voice reaches his ears. He flips the switches of his bedside lamp and approaches the closet. A terrible sound comes from inside.
Set me free. Open the door.
Alex gets scared and shakes David from his slumber.
What is it? David, it's the closet. Someone inside is pleading for someone out here to open the door. What are you talking about, Alex? You must have had a bad dream. No, I'm telling you, it really happened.
David walks towards the closet and opens the door. He peers inside. Nothing happens. David gives Alex a suspicious glance.
See, Alex, there's nothing there.
All at once, a very dangerous monster suddenly appears, looming directly behind David. Seeing the monster, fear strikes Alex's heart.
David! David! Quick, turn around!
The monster disappears as David looks back.
What? There's nothing there.
Alex was shaking with fear.
I'm gonna get some sleep, and I recommend that you get some shut-eye too, brother.
Believe me, I saw someone in the closet. We can't stay in this room. Listen to me, David.
The next evening, David tries to talk with his dad.
Dad, can I please stay over at Harry's house?
Okay.
That night, Alex is sleeping alone in the room. He's not feeling sleepy. He's trembling and shaking under the covers until he eventually falls asleep, and when he does, deep sleep. But he awakens to the sound of his closet door opening slowly. He peeks out from the blanket and is very afraid. The same monster appears right next to his face. Alex screams and he tries to run away from the room. But the bedroom door will not open.
Leave me! Leave me! Let me go! Let me go, please!
I've waited years for this. How can I let you go now?
Alex tries to turn around, but the monster moves in front of him wherever he runs. The monster bites Alex's neck, and blood drips to the floor. The next day, David returns home and sees Thomas upset.
Dad, what happened? I don't know where Alex has gone. He's been missing since this morning.
Don't you worry, Dad. I'll go ask his friends.
David asks all his friends, but no one knows anything. David sits on the bed, wondering where Alex has gone. Then he sees blood under the door of the closet. When he opens the closet, Alex's corpse falls on him.
Brother! Dad! Dad, Alex is here!
David and Thomas are both shocked that Alex is dead.
Who could have done this to my son?
Dad, remember what the landlord said? I think we need to go talk to Mr. George.
I'm very sorry to hear about Alex.
George, do you know anything about that closet?
George got a little nervous.
It's from my grandfather's time. When I was 20, it is said that there was a fear of a serial killer named Revan. I remember he came to our house to hide from the police. He hid in that very same closet. When my grandfather found out, he locked the closet door to capture the killer. But my grandfather had dementia. Before he could inform the police, he completely forgot that he had locked Revan inside the closet. Revan remained in there for 30 days and died. After some time, the room started to stink, and Grandpa opened the closet and remembered everything. The pastor told us to burn the corpse, but Grandpa buried it.
After that, we never used that closet. That means it's Revan who killed my brother? What are you saying, David?
David tells Thomas and George about his and Alex's nightmarish incident.
Grandpa buried the corpse in the backyard of the house. Maybe if we burn his skeleton, then his soul might find peace. My brother's murderer must be punished.
George and Thomas begin digging in the garden. David goes up to the room to close the closet door again. You know, in case the monster might get out again. But as David enters the room, the door closes behind him. He runs across the room to close the closet door, but is thrown back across the room into the wall. His head aches. Then, the same terrible monster emerges from the closet in front of him. Dreadful red eyes, bloody giant body. David's scream comes out. Outside, Thomas heard the scream and runs inside. The monster grabs David by the throat and throws him again. Thomas grabs a baseball bat and breaks the door and comes inside. He swings at the monster, but the bat breaks in two. Then the monster stabs his sharp fingernails into the stomach of Thomas, and he dies. Outside, George ignores the screams and finds the skeleton of Ribbon.
Dad!
David starts crying. The monster moves towards him to kill him. But just as he gets close to David, the monster lights on fire outside. George had lit the skeleton on fire. Inside, the monster turns into smoke, and the closet also starts to burn.
I know you've lost a lot, David. From today, you're my son. Come with me.
David goes with George, but never emerges from his misery. The end.